Hey everyone, welcome to a brand new series we have here at CVtv where, myself, Carlos, and your host now, Dave Dakin, the owner of CoralVue, we're going to be starting a new series where we delve into the HYDROS and, how it applies to regular equipment. How to use the HYDROS or how to use the HYDROS to make the equipment that you have better. How you doing there, Dave?
Good day, Carlos. How you been?
I'm doing well. It's
Good.
what's the weather down there in New Orleans right now?
Man, it's about 70 degrees today, so it's pretty cool down here.
Yeah. Well, you know what? This morning I had about 4 inches of snow here in Chicago.
Wow.
So,
No
but
thanks.
gotta love the internet. You're in
Right.
Slidell, I'm in Chicago, and we're all together online.
There we go. I love it.
That's awesome. So anyway, before we move on and we get started here with the show, I want to say hello to Matt Young, Bruce, and then Everything Wendy. Hey, Battle
Hey, Wendy.
OCR, as well as Bob Winfrey
Hey,
and
Bob.
Eddie Simmons, Farm Frags as well. So how are you guys doing? So we're just going to make this show. This is not going to be an hour show. This is not going to be an hour and a half. Probably going to keep it to about 30 minutes, right, Dave?
Yeah.
'Cause we all have we all have things to do. But what we want to do is emphasize on a product, what the product does, and then how to bring it into the CoralVue Hydros control world,
Yep.
and to show you how easy it is, and also to show you that sometimes just with a little few tweaks on how to run the product, it can make a world of a difference. The difference
Hmm.
between snagging and not snagging at all.
Yep.
So the product that we're going to be doing today, which is our very first product on this show, the workshops, is going to be the Klir. So Dave, do you want to introduce us to the Klir? Let's tell us about it.
Yeah. Man, this is the Klir, and it comes in two sizes. It fits a 4-inch and a 7-inch filter sock hole, but I really think this is one of the best kept secrets in the hobby. If you're running filter socks, I mean, man, I got a 400-gallon reef behind me. It has three 4-inch socks. I was replacing those socks probably every 3 to 4 days. And I would have a bucket full of socks. And then you got to take them home. You got to try and pull them inside out, which can be difficult, how thick that fleece is,
Mhm.
and then throw it in the washing machine at home. And if anybody's married, the wife does not look fondly on putting that garbage in her washing machine.
No.
And so we came out with this Klir. I guess it's been a little over a year ago, and we worked through a couple of little kinks when we first got on the scene, and we can talk about some of those things we addressed. But this thing really is a time saver. I mean, it just makes your life so much easier. But there's a couple of things during setup and some things people don't understand, and I'd kind of like to just take you through the setup and how it installs, and then Carlos can then expand on what else it can do when you then integrate it with the HYDROS controller. But the first thing you want to look at when you get your Klir is it'll come with three different rings for the 4-inch and the 7-inch. And the reason for that is because some manufacturers' sumps are like 3.9-inch diameter hole, and some are 4.1, and some are exactly 4. So take one of these out and just fit it in the sock holder and find the one that best fits your hole. That way you gotta, it fills the largest diameter opening. And then once you do that, you'll attach that ring up underneath here, and then there's a screw here that you can it'll lock it in. And that also, when you open up this screw here, that allows you to release the door, and the door here opens so you can access and install the fleece. But some of the things about a lot of questions we get with the Klir is, how should it position? How should you put this in the sump? And one of the biggest problems is we'll see people will install it like this. If you can see that there, Carlos, I'm not sure. But this actually makes like a battering ram with the water coming through, or they could have it turned like this. So the water is coming, trying to get into the clear, but here it's blocked. So then it has to go around
So
to
it's
the
going to hit.
sidewalls.
It's going to
So
hit that wall, and it's going to
it's going to hit the
splash to the
wall,
sides.
splash water, and then it's going to splash on the sensor that's here. So then you're getting false advances on the fleece.
Yes.
So one of the biggest things is the Klir must be installed with this part, as you know, if you want to visualize it, this long or narrow diameter indicates the water, how it should come in. If
So
it's
almost
like long ways, then it's like a battering ram. You can almost like long bad, narrow good. And the water is going to come and fall right down into the fleece.
Okay, so so parallel. It should be the Klir has to be installed parallel to the flow, not perpendicular to the flow. Okay, and that definitely makes a huge difference. From somebody here myself that actually does customer support sometimes in the Klir, and I know the other folks at customer support, that is one of the very first things that we ask people when they first get the Klir and come to us with some issues is, well, can you send me a picture and show me how to install it? And then we have then we tell them, so you know, it's just little tweaks that need to be done in order for it to work. All right. Also, I know that, Dave, that the sensor has to be down flow. So you don't want the water.
You don't want water rushing in and then it's crashing, you know, on this sensor.
So you got to turn the sensor. So you got to turn the sensor, and it's away from the water source, and that makes a big difference. All right.
Big difference.
Now, what's the and we talked about this. Some people might know, some people don't. But what's the big difference between the Klir and the other brands out there? What is it? What is it that makes Klir so different, so unique?
I think it's just that it's a direct replacement for a filter sock. There's no extra space that's needed or plumbing configuration. If the Klir will fit into the sock hole, you're ready to roll with it. You don't need to go do any extra plumbing or need to take up more sump space in order to accommodate this device.
Exactly. So remember, so it has to be parallel to the water, and the sensor has to be downstream. The sensor has to be downstream.
Imagine the water's coming in, and this is how this should be.
Exactly. Positioned. That's great. That's really good. So now, you know, I know that some people have sumps that have filter socks, but there's some people that don't have filter socks.
Yeah.
And then how do we help those people out?
So we actually have we call it a Klir bracket, and then that bracket allows you to plumb directly to the bracket, which then in turn you can install a Klir, either a 4-inch or a 7-inch.
Fantastic. That's great. Yeah. That's good.
But you know, another big issue we have is that these Klirs they're rated to handle a certain amount of gallons per hour.
Correct.
The 4-inch is rated for 750 gallons an hour. The 7-inch is rated for 1,800 gallons an hour. So what happens if you put in too much water to it? Well, then you're setting yourself up for more problems and advances from the sensor. It just cannot process that much water.
It's like a drain. If you pour too much water into a drain, and it's going to back up. Correct, Dave?
Yep. Correct. Yeah, it's just going to back up, and then you know you'll notice the fleece is just rolled up, and you're like, hey, what's going on with this thing? It must be malfunctioning. That it's very, you know, typical that if you see that, you're dealing with too much flow, or you're dealing with that issue where the water's just pounding up against and not properly flowing into the design, how it's designed to flow in between the fleece.
Yeah. Now, for those people, I know that here, Luis Rodriguez asked, actually, Battle OCR says if you can put two in a sump with two holes, and yes, you can actually. There's
Yep.
a slave mode, which is just two units linked together with a Y cable. Correct?
Correct.
So does the Y cable replace? So how does it work? Do you have two motors and two sensors, or how does it work? Explain that to me.
So the Y cable, basically it'll just activate both motors at the same time. So instead of one motor advancing, now you got two motors advancing at the exact same time.
So you have only one controller.
That is correct.
Okay, so instead of having two controllers for two clears, what you're going to do is you're going to take pretty much one control and one sensor and put it in the drawer or something for a backup. And then after that, you're going to grab that Y cable and connect both motors to the Y cable, and then one sensor to the controller. So then one sensor is going to trigger both motors to run at the same time. This way, it ensures that both fleeces are used up at the same time and not one fleece is used up more than the other, which is something that would happen because, again, the laws of physics don't tell water to go to two places at the same exact time.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I mean, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just there was one other little trick that I've learned, over the years of using these, and that makes my life a lot easier, is when you get new fleece. A lot of people they see the tape that's on and they want to just rip the whole thing off and try and run the fleece through this. And the tape, actually leaving the tape on the end that you're going to feed through the rollers, makes your life so much easier to do this install, because the tape's a little bit rigid, and when you get to certain points on the rollers, it actually may give you a little grip stick to the roller and help run it through. So just a little tip that I've learned, and maybe something to think about when you're doing your install on the fleece.
Yeah, and another trick that I've learned also from running it for years is attaching it to the spindle. It doesn't have to be that hard. Actually, we all have this at our disposal, which is super glue, which is coral glue. We use it for almost everything. So it's amazing. Just grab that spindle, add a little line of coral glue, and then put that fleece in there, and trust me, it holds it better than masking tape or even duct tape. As they say, masking tape and duct tape, they don't make it like they used to. So the little line, the little bead of glue there makes a big difference, and it holds that fleece right to the PVC spindle without any problems.
And I mean, Carlos, this motor's powerful enough, you get to the end and sometimes it'll just rip the fleece in half. Because it's held on there so well.
Yeah, it'll rip the fleece, or it'll strip the keyhole in the waste spindle before the motor even gives up. So it's very difficult to strip that motor. The fleece, which is paper, or the spindle, will give before the motor does.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Maybe some other little tips is just, for me, when I replace the fleece, I look at it as a time to clean the whole unit. I actually will take it and hose it, because you'll see a lot of the detritus will build up on these rollers. So you want to hose that off really good and get that out of there. One other thing that I forgot to mention during the install is you'll see these little velocity stacks. They actually install in these little cutouts on the Klir. But you want to make sure to put the long end. There's a little bevel here. Put the long end down into the Klir. This actually helps air and water, just allows it to process faster and cuts down on noise. So just another little thing to keep in mind.
Yeah, and another thing that I've done for cleaning as well is I usually, just like you, when it's time to replace the fleece, I take out the Klir out, and I actually go to the sink and I run them, without the acrylic, so just the PVC part. I grab the PVC part and I run it under hot water. And the reason it does that is because the hot water kills all the little vermitid snails,
Yep,
everything there, and then they're dead. All the eggs are dead, so then nothing is growing there. So
correct.
then I don't have problems with snagging, which is something that I have found that I had problems if I just replace the fleece without cleaning the actual unit. So
You know
just
that,
taking it
yeah,
out, hot
yeah,
water makes a world of difference.
yeah. You're right, Carlos. Especially with those little snails, they'll actually get along on the inside of the track.
They
So
look like
when
little pyramids.
yeah, little pyramids, and they're actually pretty sharp. If you run your
Yes,
finger along, it's like, so you can see why the fleece may break, or rather shear.
yes.
And so yeah, when you clean, you definitely want to just visually check it and knock them off if you can't get them off with some high pressure hose or something like that. But
Yes.
that'll make a big difference in the performance. So
Yeah. So we want to say hello. We want to say hello. Thank you for showing up and joining us here, Alex, Richard. I think Jeremy Reichel is right here too as well. So I want to say thank you to everybody for joining us. Actually, as I know we said it was a HYDROS workshop, but we wanted to dedicate half of the show just to show you how to use the unit and give you little tips that we've learned from many years of using them and
yeah.
using multiple units and how to make it better. So those little things work amazing. So now,
And that's a big thing, Carlos, as we talking about control. Well, control actually controls devices, products. So
Mhm.
it only makes sense that we show education on how to use these products and how they can be integrated into our Hydros system.
Yeah.
So I think that's the big thing behind it.
Yeah. I want to say hello to Noel. I want to say hello to Beeves Reef as well, and Ricardo. Hey, Ricky, how you
Yeah.
doing, man? And I know Farm Frags. I like my duct tape. I like duct tape too, but I've noticed that sometimes when duct tape gets wet, it doesn't stick.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't stick, then what happens is the machine is going to turn the spindle, but the fleece is not going to attach to it. So the spindle's going to turn, but the fleece is not. And
Hmm.
then you're going to contact us at support and saying that it's not working. And it's just because you got to put that little bead of glue. You got to make sure that that fleece is secured to the waste spindle. That's all. That's pretty much that's the trick. You know. I want to say thank you for joining us, everybody. If you like the show, if you like what we're doing here with the workshop, and we're going to cover different products all the time, so please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit that little bell button on YouTube. We are streaming live on YouTube and we're streaming live on Facebook. So whenever we go live, you'll get that little live notification that tells you, hey, come and join us. Another thing that we want to announce, Dave, right, also is that the clears are on sale as
Yeah.
well through the
Yes.
end of the month.
Correct. Yeah. We figured, hey, let's start off the show with a product that's on sale, and still got a little time left to the end of the month. So check out your retailer or favorite online retailer and pick you one up before they go back up in price.
Exactly. So all are 25% off. So now let's bring the Klir into the HYDROS world.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
now, Dave, how do we get the HYDROS control to work with the Klir,
So
hardware wise?
hardware wise, what you're going to need is this special little adapter right here. So
Okay.
this is going to allow you to adapt from the Klir, from the HYDROS control from a drive port, and then adapt to the mating cable on the Klir motor. So
So
this is
tell,
going to handle the power to the
so that's
motor.
going to be so the motor is 12-volt motor, and all HYDROS control units have the control 2 comes with 2 drive ports, and the control
Hmm.
4 also comes with 2 drive ports capable of running a 12-volt
Motor
device.
device, yeah.
So you're telling me that we're getting rid of the power supply?
So now here you go and eliminate another one of these wonderful babies, because look how that's got to plug in and hog up
Throw
space on
that
your.
sucker away.
You
Let's
throw
throw
this
that
thing
sucker
away.
away. Let's throw that
Yep.
sucker away. So we plug
And
the
then in addition to the cable,
yes.
you're going to want to pick up a level sensor. So
Okay.
this allows you to eliminate this whole sensor being on the Klir itself, because this is a magnet mount. So
Wait.
you can
So I can
so
I can mount that anywhere.
correct. So now
Oh,
you eliminate that. Now you're getting rid of this issue where you may have false splashing and motor advancement due to the location.
okay.
So just with that little baby there.
So
And
now,
now
okay,
you can tell them where that plugs in. That's a sense device. So we're sensing water.
perfect. Now, I do have a question for you, Dave. You
Yep.
said that you connect the motor to the drive port. Now, can I
Hmm.
use a Y cable to connect multiple motors to the same
Yeah,
Y port, drive port?
absolutely. So now it's the same. There'll be another cable, so you could have two of these coming off of the same type of cable
So
and plug
grab,
two motors in.
so everybody grab that little kit that we sell on our website
Yep.
and the drive port, and then from that drive port, connect the Y cable that you were using prior to run two motors. Just connect that to the drive cable, and the control has enough power to drive two motors of
Yep.
the Klir 7
And,
or 4-inch Klir, DI7
and
or DI4.
but you don't need two level sensors. You're just going to go off of this one level sensor.
Fantastic. So we add the drive port, we add the motors to the drive port, and then
Hmm.
we add the new water sensor. Now, can I use the water sensor from the Klir for the HYDROS?
This sensor here is not compatible.
Okay, it's not compatible.
No,
It's
so
not
you're going to
compatible.
eliminate that.
So when you go to our website, there's a kit. There's a Klir HYDROS kit that
Yep.
gives you the drive port adapter as well as a new water sensor, which is all you need to drive one or two Klir
But you know,
motors.
and in eliminating this, it also makes your life easier because it's one less
Oh,
cable you got to deal with. You never have to. Once this is mounted, you don't have to touch it again, except to
exactly.
clean the sensor if it gets dirty. So
So
with this, you physically remove it. And you got these two cables hanging, and then it connects to the connector. So it's just another step in trying to make your life a little simpler.
now I do have Bob Winfrey wants to know, how do we remove the motor? So assuming that the fleece is completely wasted,
Hmm.
can you show us how to remove the motor?
Yeah, so you're just gonna take this cover up. It covers nice too. It's got a little carbon pad in there. Some people don't realize, and that's just to keep any odor down. And so you can replace that if you need to. But the motor just then sits in the cradle, and you just lift it up, and all the used fleece will be on it. And then from this, it attaches to the spindle, and just pull it out and throw it away. As simple as that.
So you can remove, so now you don't have, so the motor comes right off, and I
Hmm.
don't have to move it from the sump. The sensor is
Yep.
no longer attached to the Klir, which tells me now that I can just grab that PVC assembly, pull it out, and
Hmm.
without any problems, like
Yep.
unlike before.
Right.
All right. Okay, so now, so now how do we do this on the HYDROS? So what I'm going to
Yeah.
do now is I'm going to share my screen. Now I'm going to step in here and show you how to program the Klir on your HYDROS control. And
Hmm.
I'm going to show you that because there's a few things, just like we showed you tips on how to assemble and how to physically handle the Klir. I'm going to show you some tips that we can do on the HYDROS control that will eliminate a lot of the issues that some people are having. I'll point the issues as we go through. So the first thing I'm going to do, Dave, is we're going to go ahead and add a water sensor, correct?
Okay. Yep.
Let's go ahead. So I'm going to go into add a new sensor. I'm going to click the plus symbol right here, and I'm going to call it Klir sensor. All right, and I'm going to hit create. So type is going to be a sense port, okay, because we're connecting it to a sense port, and then the sense mode is going to be a water level. And I already have it connected to my control 4 sense port number 2. So I'm gonna go ahead and upload that to my devices here. And as you can see, I do have a lot of devices together. I have a big collective, so I can use multiple devices all working together, okay? And then it's going to save. Okay, so it's done. So let me go back to my status screen right here. And as you can see, I have a Klir sensor right there. So now the next step is to add that motor. So I'm going to go ahead and add a new output. Hit the plus symbol, and I'm going to call it Klir. And create. Now, we here at the HYDROS Control, we have a lot of presets that make it a lot easier for people to add devices, so I don't have to try to guess what I'm doing. Instead, we have presets where they have recipes, and it has a simple form asking you the correct questions to make it easy for you to install the product without having to guess or trying to figure out what works and what doesn't work for you. So I'm going to go ahead and select Klir. All right. And then level input. Now, my level input is the water sensor. It's asking me the form, the HYDROS asking me which level sensor, which water level sensor do you want to use? So I'm going to say, I'm going to do the Klir sensor because that's the one that I just created. Now, my output device is the drive board. Where did I connect the motor to? In my case, I connected to my control 4 and then drive port 1 right there. Okay, active in modes means if I want the Klir to run during feeding, during normal, or during water change. Obviously, I don't want the Klir to run during a water change, so I'm going to uncheck that. Now, depends on. Is there something that you want to make sure that if that particular item is not running or running, the Klir is running or not? So that's what I'm going to do. What I want to do also is I want to make sure that if my return pump shuts off, then there is no reason for the Klir to be on. So what I'm going to do is depends on, and I'm going to select my return pump. Here is return pump, and I'm going to say off if off, which means that if my return pump is off, then I want the Klir to be off. Now, here is the trick. This is where the HYDROS allows you to customize the Klir to your tank, to your particular tank. Is no longer the Klir controller, whereas one settings or one configuration fits everything. With the HYDROS, you can base it based on your flow, based on how dirty your water is, how much you feed, so forth. So I'm going to go ahead and enable advanced settings. So what I want to do is, first of all, if for some reason the control loses the connection to the sensor, to the water sensor, to the Klir sensor, I want to make sure that the Klir turns off. I don't want the Klir to just turn on and run the entire fleece. So if I lose the connection to the sensor, turn off. Second of all, minimum off time. Now, minimum off time means how long does the Klir wait before it turns back on? So if the water hits the sensor and the sensor thinks that it's underwater, then the sensor is going to tell the control to turn on the Klir motor. Then the water is going to drop and the sensor is going to become dry. How long before the controller allows the motor to turn back on if the water hits the sensor? This comes in handy if you have a lot of water flow and the water is constantly splashing to the sensor. If you didn't have this feature, then every time the water hits the sensor, it would turn on the motor. That would kill the motor. It would shorten the life of the motor and also would shorten the life of your fleece, probably get it to the point where it snags or it starts shifting to either side. So what I'm going to do is it's already preset to 1 minute. Let me skip to minimum on time. Now, minimum on time is something else that people sometimes overlook. And this is kind of like how long the motor is going to be on before it shuts off, regardless of the water sensor. And what happens is sometimes when the water hits the sensor, it's going to take a split second for the motor to get going and start moving the fleece. And not only that, if the fleece has been sitting there for a little while, it kind of seizes with the dirt. So then it's going to take a little bit longer for the motor to make it through that resistance and free the fleece so it moves. So what I want to do is I want to make sure that every time the water hits the sensor, the motor runs long enough so that the fleece never ceases to the rollers. So it's always loose and ready to go. In order to do that, I'm going to set my minimum on time to 5 seconds. Now, most of the times, 5 seconds is not going to be long enough for new fleece to make it all the way from the new fleece roll all the way to the waste roll. So 5 seconds is pretty safe. All right, maximum on time. Now, this is another great feature that I don't have with the with the native Klir controller, and that allows me to tell the control or the Klir pretty much how long to be on before it shuts off. In this case, what I want to do is I want to make sure that the Klir doesn't stay on and waste my fleece. This might happen if the sensor gets dirty and then it dirty and then it thinks that it's wet, then it's going to keep the Klir on and it's going to turn it on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set it to, I think 2 minutes is too long for myself, for my system. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set it to about, 15 seconds. That's it. So if the Klir advances for more than 15 seconds, then give me an alarm. Next thing I do is run past max on time. What this means is if you hit that 15 seconds, do you want the Klir to continue or do you want the Klir to stop? Has nothing to do with the alarms. It just says Klir, do you want the Klir to continue or do you want the Klir to stop? After 15 seconds, that Klir should have stopped already. There's something wrong, so I need to, because I don't want to waste the fleece, I am going to go ahead and just tell it to stop. And the next thing I want to know is if the Klir goes for more than 15 seconds, something is wrong. I want to know about it. So send me a text message or send me an email. So I'm going to set the alarm to orange. And I'm going to go ahead and upload my changes. Okay. All right, so while the changes are uploading, we're streaming and I'm also uploading too, so my internet probably is a little bit dragging down, but there you go, the changes were saved. So that's pretty much how the Klir runs. Now, so I've been able to, and now I've created a Klir unit that is tweaked to my system. The unit will, turn on when the water sensor gets wet or full, and it will not turn on unless a minute has passed from the last time it was turned on. Another thing is, the maximum on time is 5 seconds. I'm sorry, the minimum on time is 5 seconds, and the maximum time on time is 15 seconds.
Maybe you could address that, Carlos, the minimum on time, because with the native controller, you just get a little jog until the sensor is clear water and then it shuts off. But
exactly.
There's still a lot of detritus that's sitting in the water, and there's a lot of weight within that fleece that it has to advance because it's just sitting. So with the minimum on time, we can tweak it that when it gets activated, like in my system, I run it for like 7 or 8 seconds minimum. That puts a lot more newer fleece in, and that water will flow through there really, really nicely and not put a big strain on the motors.
Exactly. So that minimum time also, like Dave says, it allows the fleece to stay free and not seize up. Sometimes when the motor turns on for only a split second or 2 seconds, the fleece might move a little bit, but because it's paper stretches. So what's going to happen is the paper is going to stretch, but then it's going to go right back to where it was before. And then it's going to stretch and it's going to roll right back. And what happens with paper when you keep stretching and all that, eventually it's going to give. All right. Yep. Or what's going to happen is as the paper rolls up, then it starts rolling to one side and doesn't stay center. So by ensuring that the motor runs for about 5 seconds, it ensures that the paper has enough time to move and free up and not stretch and then release again. Those are the little tweaks that you can do in order to extend the life of your fleece.
Your fleece,
okay? Yeah. So the last thing I want to do is I want to cover is a little trick that I've learned over the time, and using the Klir. So I'm going to get our producer here, April, to put back the screen with the HYDROS. Thank you very much. So what I'm going to do right here is the last thing I'm going to do is maximum off time. Okay, so maximum off time might seem like something that's like, I don't want to do that or I don't want to run that, but there's a little use to it, actually. What you can do is if the fleece is ripped or sheared, or the fleece is exhausted, okay, what's going to happen is the water on the filter sock chamber is never going to go up. And when it never goes up, the sensor is never going to be wet. And when the sensor is not wet, the motor's not going to advance. All right. So I've noticed that sometimes I've gone days, sometimes without noticing that the fleece was used up because the controller doesn't tell me. The native controller. But the HYDROS, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this to 23 hours. So what's going to happen is now is if my Klir filter does not run once within 24 hours, then send me an alarm. And that tells me right there, it could be the fleece is snagged, which you got a snail, or you're cleaning the tank and a little rock or a little snail gets into the overflow and makes it all the way down to the clears, it's going to snag, or the fleece needs to be changed. But at this point, what it's telling me is, hey, I haven't advanced the fleece in over 23 hours. There's got to be something going on here. Which is, it's just something simple, but it makes an absolute world of a difference.
Huge. Yeah.
All right. So
because one, just to expand on that, Carlos, and maybe some people are asking, well, how long does the fleece last? I mean, on my tank, I can get about 6 weeks, and but in that amount of time, you forget. You don't even have to look at these things. It's just that easy once it's set up right, and without a notification, you wouldn't even know until you decide, oh, maybe I should look. But with HYDROS, it's going to give you that notification if it doesn't advance in whatever you set it for.
Yeah,
I have mine at 23 hours as well. In that amount of time, if it hasn't moved, then something's going on.
Exactly. And then let's just kind of emphasizing on Dave's point in here is that you don't want to don't make it 15 hours. Don't make it 2 hours. Don't make it 3 hours, because what happens is, if you were to use new fleece, that very first time you use the fleece, it's going to take longer to clog up. So it's going to take a lot longer to advance. So you don't want it to be, sending you emails because it hasn't moved in 2 or 3 hours. So I highly recommend, if our tanks does not have a filter sock fleece for 23 hours, I think it's going to be fine. So 23 hours kind of for us, for Dave and myself, has been kind of like the sweet spot. And you got to remember, guys, this is something that we've been playing with for a long time. Dave and I, it's like, hey, Carlos, is your fleece running? Hey, Carlos, I got a message in here. And it's like, okay, let's tweak here. Let's tweak here. Dave has a 400-gallon system. I have a 200-gallon system in here. And we're kind of tweaking it a little bit. We might have a couple of differences in here in terms of how long we run the motor. But other than that, most of the other settings are the same because they kind of fit everything, So this is how you run the Klir on the HYDROS control, and how you can make that Klir work for you. And those little tweaks, that maximum and minimum time on, that maximum and minimum time off, they will make a world of difference to how you run the Klir and how well it works for you. All right. So I want to say thank you to everybody for joining us. We promise you it's going to be a short show. So, we wanted to inform you. We wanted to make sure that we shared our tips in here from people, from us. We've been using the Klir for, a long time. We've used other systems, and we found out that, what works for us, and kind of shared the knowledge with everybody else. So I want to say thank you again for, Got Frogs Design is here, Battle OCR, again, Jeremy Reichel, Wendy, thank you so much for being there. Noel Clark, we appreciate that as well. Bob Winfrey, everything Wendy and Ricardo, thank you for showing up and joining us today. If you like the show, if you like what we did right here today, please hit that subscribe button, or hit that like button, or hit that little bell in there, and it'll notify you whenever we have a live show. This is a new show that we're doing, is workshops. So we're trying to keep it that way. I know the workshops are reserved for the trade shows, and that's not fair to everybody. So we decided, Dave said, you know what, let's do workshops online, take advantage of this great technology and share the knowledge, and
hey, don't forget, it's on sale till end of the month. So if you've been thinking about getting one, make your life easy.
Make
it
your life
definitely
easier.
helps.
Exactly. The 25%, just contact your favorite retail space or your favorite online retailer and hit them up and let them know. If they don't have it in stock, just let us know
Yep.
and we'll take care of it. We'll take care of it. So on behalf of Dave, myself, our producer April, and Jeremy, our graphic designer, we want to say thank you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, guys.
And we will see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.